Good morning.
Good morning, Hemming. How are we doing today?
I am doing very well. How about yourself?
Started early, got my workout in, so got some energy. So that's good. Where are you calling
Wonderful.
from? Hemming, where are you located at?
Kansas City, Missouri is where I am.
Oh, nice. So I don't know if you know this, the 1 Million Cups headquarters for the Kauffman Foundation is in Kansas City.
Yes, I'm aware of that, and it was actually my first 1 million cups presentation that I did at the PlexPod building, where they used to have them pre-COVID.
Nice. Are they having meetings yet in person or still
They
virtual?
picked up. They started Zoom meetings about 2 months ago. There was a little bit of a lack of organizers, and a lack of direction. I think they were late to the game of Zoom sessions.
Yeah. I made you a co-host. Do you want to practice sharing your screen?
Yes, hold on 1 second. Let me just go into presentation mode here with my presentation, and then you should be seeing my screen.
Looks great. And your company name, to pronounce it right, is it Vendux?
Vendux, yes.
Oh, why did I say Zen? Vendux. Yeah.
Vendux, V
Okay.
as in Victor.
Yep. Okay. Awesome. Great.
Okay.
You're going to be presenting first, just to let you know.
Okay.
You didn't realize that.
I'll get out of the sharing mode so
Right.
that Shiley can present or test.
She says she's right now finishing a call, but that's fine.
Okay.
Have you, have you presented at other 1 Million Cup chapters? You mentioned Kansas City, but any others besides that?
Yeah, this is my number 12. I
Oh,
counted
nice.
yesterday, and I have one more scheduled for Sacramento,
Okay.
and I have a few other applications out. I'm excessively using the platform. If you
I've had similar presenters, and we call it the 1 Million Cups tour, is what you're making right now.
it makes sense. You meet a lot of people, you get a lot of different feedback. Every 1 million cups group is a little different.
Yeah.
The rules, whether it's 10 minutes or 8 minutes or 6 minutes, whether it's one presenter or two, and then the type of questions being asked, also the focus of the presentation, I've noticed sometimes is asked to be different. So to me, it makes a lot of sense. And I meet a lot of people and get a lot of feedback.
Any takeaways from the 12 different places you presented at, like things that worked well in these 1MC events? Are you liked?
Wow. I mean, I still think that the in-person presentations work better. They were generally better attended.
Yes.
And you also get more audience engagement. Zoom, everybody uses Zoom all day long, and I do it myself. I zone out in some presentations, and I'm just listening in, but I'm not engaging.
But nothing. What I'm looking for is anything I can do different. When like Denver could add, like that's another chapter's doing well on Zoom in terms of the meetings. And maybe after this meeting, you'll have a better answer. You can see how we do things and just getting feedback on like this was really cool.
I think that is a very fair and good assumption, because I wouldn't know what to compare it with, and what you are doing or not doing that others maybe do or not.
I haven't had the time to go to 12 different chapters to compare. So using your experience as knowledge was my hope here. Or
maybe that could be the final question. It won't be how can we help you, but rather what can we do better?
Yes. Or I try to go with the positives, but if you have like things that you saw chapters do that's not good, I could, I'm open to hearing that as well. If there's things like, yeah, don't do this, Nick. This was not a good idea.
Yeah. Well, like one thing that I can share, but that's generally true for any type of meeting, that if you have an organizer that is a mumbling, self-centered individual, that is not, you have to be embracing the presenter and engaging the presenter, not using it as a platform for yourself. And
Interesting.
Among the 12, I've had those types of organizers. Not very often, I'm happy to say, but they.
Okay. Well, my goal today is not to be that guy or girl.
See, now I feel bad for having shared this, and maybe you think that I think that you are that way, but
no. You've just met me for the past 5 minutes, so I think it'd be kind of hard to make that assumption. How long have you been? How long has Zendu been around? Or Vendux, sorry.
Vendux, 1.5 years. I started it in August of 2019.
Awesome. How'd you come up with the idea?
Excuse me?
How'd you come up with the idea?
That's part of my story that I'm going to tell you.
Okay, don't tell me then. Yeah, let's hold off.
Already 5 other people in the call.
Yeah, I don't want to give it away. Where'd you get your artwork from?
This is from Slovakia. This is from North Carolina, San Francisco, Germany. I just like to go to art fairs and art spaces where artists have studios, and I buy what I like.
Nice.
And I like, as you can tell, I like colorful and a little eccentric in the way it's drawn.
Have you been to New Orleans before?
Yes, I have.
Jackson Square is kind of where the area where artists set up their artwork. My sister, she's an artist, and she sets up there.
Okay.
During the week, and she painted that painting there.
Yeah.
It's representing the state of Colorado, and she has this rivers theme where she focuses on a certain area of land and highlights the rivers of that land. So she took Colorado and painted the state and then painted the rivers within it and added colors.
Cool.
But if you're ever, next time you're in New Orleans, walk around Jackson Square, she does this rivers concept and also a lot of skeletons, because that's big in New Orleans, the voodoo and everything.
Yeah, cool. That's great.
Good morning, Ryan.
Good morning. How are you?
Fantastic. Where are you calling from?
Denver, Colorado.
Nice. Where'd you get your background from?
Don't believe the background.
Yeah, it's too nice.
It's not Bali, I'll tell you that.
You must.
Well, I'm not in Bali.
Yeah, or in a yoga studio.
Exactly.
Right now. I assume you do yoga, or you just like the background?
Yeah, no, I do yoga. I actually was on this like fitness thing back in January, and we had to start our sessions at 7 in.the morning. So I just thought I'd have that as my background in the morning.
It's very calming.
It is. It works out well.
Yeah. Especially
so
someone that likes.
Just keep it.
Yeah. Like I like things to be neat and clean, and your background is very that.
Exactly.
Morning, David.
How's it going?
Fantastic. Who's the basketball player that's in your background?
That is Reggie Lewis. He played for the Celtics. He actually died. He had a heart condition I didn't know about, but the Celtics were terrible after Larry Bird.
Yeah.
or just after Larry Bird, and before, Garnett and Pierce and everybody. Actually, they were pretty bad with Pierce too, but he was the only good player for a long time, and so they were my team, so I had to like them.
I never heard of, I've heard about Larry Bird, if I never heard about Reggie Lewis before.
Yeah, because they were awful.
I grew up as a Chicago Bulls player, a fan, and not a player. I wish I
You didn't play?
But that was my team growing up in the 90s.
Yeah, it's a good time to be a Bulls fan.
Yeah. And it's kind of been hard since then, fortunately. Fun fact, if you guys want to know, I used to work for the Chicago Bulls as a crowd entertainer. So the guys that throw t-shirts out in the crowd, that was me back in the day. And I would meet the players, be on the court, fourth quarter. It was awesome. Like it's hard to go to a game now and be like, man, it's so much better when you're on the court running around with the players. The energy is right there, and they're huge people too, those players. It's when you're right up in front of them.
I was 8 years old, and I met JoJo White, who was before Reggie Lewis, and there were 3 other players there, and I was 10, 9, something like that, and looking up at those people was just unreal. I didn't know humans could be that big.
Manute Bol, you know that guy? He played for the 76ers, I believe, and I had front row seats for one game, and seeing him was unreal. That was the tallest person I've ever met. Okay, so we're gonna get going. I just shared a bunch of links in the chat. We have our main site, wimblingcups.com/Denver. Also our LinkedIn group. If you want to connect to me on LinkedIn, there's a link there as well, and also information about our presenters too. Let me share my screen. We'll get going. Okay, a couple housekeeping notes. Please mute yourself when you're not speaking. There is a raise hand button to use. It's under reactions when we do the Q&A. It's helpful for me to know who has a question. Also, during the event, if you want to use the chat feature to share links or connect with other people, you can use that as well. Also recommend changing your name. If you go to your Zoom square, top right corner, rename, you can rename yourself. You can do maybe first name, job title, or first name company, so kind of get to know each other a little better. So let's get going.
1 Million Cups is a weekly educational program developed by the Kauffman Foundation.
Over the years, we've added more cities. Creates a great energy here to see what's happening across the country.
What I've learned from other entrepreneurs is very, very valuable.
Sitting in a room with other people that have ideas too, it helps people to leave thinking, you know what? My idea is worth something. It's worth pursuing. It's worth going after it. Even if it looks like a challenge, I should still go out and try to do it.
Good morning, my Hollywood Squares. My name is Nick Campion. I'll be your MC today. You're welcome to add me on LinkedIn. Love to connect. Here at 1 Million Cups, we meet every Wednesday at 9 a.m. via Zoom until further notice. We're here to do virtual coffee or tea at every meeting. If you have a mug you want to show off, this is your time to do it. This is my mug for today's meeting. Awesome. We're here to do a 6-minute presentation, not pitches. We're here to connect, not network. After the presentations, we do 15 to 20 minutes of audience feedback and questions. It's a great place for entrepreneurs to be vulnerable, open, and transparent. And we're here to discuss ideas, not people. By a show of hands, anybody new to 1 Million Cups today? Anybody newbies? No? Okay. Oh, Ryan is awesome. I'm going to send out a quick poll if you guys can fill it out. 2 simple questions. Are you new to 1MC? And do you consider yourself an entrepreneur? For those that don't know, and for Ryan, we do have a website. It's 1millioncups.com/Denver. Go to the site. You can see who's presenting each week. You can also sign up to be a free member. Who stopped the poll?
I did, Nick. I apologize.
Okay. Sorry. I forgot the co-host have access. Don't touch the poll. You lost my train of thought. Oh, I was talking about the website. You can sign up for a free membership. We send out a weekly email each week about who's presenting, and also go to our website if you're interested in presenting as well. And we have apps as well if you need apps on your phone. We do have a LinkedIn group page. This is a great page to connect with other members, and also I share all the links that are sent through Zoom onto this page, because during Zoom meetings, there's so many links that go back and forth and the meeting ends and information's lost. Well, it's not lost because I put them on this LinkedIn group. So join the group and you can get all the information about today's event if there's information shared. Quick shout out to our sponsors. We have Enterprise, Founders Craft, Mill State Coffee, Good Elephant, Pono Media, Carlo Lending Source, Rocky Mountain Photography, the Commons on Champa, and We Work Labs. Let's give all of them a round of applause. Quick shout out to the org team, myself, Gregarious, Kevin, Carter, Ali. Thank you for all you do. If you want to join the team and get your photo up here, reach out to one of us. We'd love to have some help. Now we're going to go to some volunteer introductions. I'm looking for 3 people to introduce themselves, name, what they do, how they heard about 1 Million Cups, why they're here, or what you did this weekend, or what you had for breakfast. I don't know, just something we can get to know each other a little bit better. So looking for 3 volunteers. If not, I'm going to call on people. Anybody want to introduce themselves? Going once, twice. Okay. Oh, Hannah, go for it.
Hey everybody, I am Hannah Drain Taylor, co-founder of Delta Awesome. Brad is also on here, and I'm just now getting to breakfast, and it consists of eggs and kimchi, and I'm really excited about it. I came across 1 Million Cups because Brad and I actually didn't pitch. We presented our idea a little over 3 years ago. And so we're excited to be back in the community, seeing what people have to say.
Thank you, Hannah. All right. Who wants to do an introduction? Ryan, I was going to call on you anyway. Go ahead.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Ryan Witherspoon. I am new to this group. I found this group out from a connection through a connection on LinkedIn. I did lose my job through the pandemic, and so I went back to school for web development. And I am just wanting to connect with people. And since we don't have those opportunities really anymore, this was suggested to find some new and upcoming companies and just put a face with the name and be able to meet some new people. So yeah, that's why I'm here.
All right. Thanks, Ryan. And last one, I have Eric.
Hi, I'm Eric Johnson, calling in from Fort Collins, Colorado. I taught overseas for 23 years in Latin America, Europe, and Asia. And I quit my job 5 years ago and decided to start my own business teaching English through travel. Of course, that got upended in the pandemic. I was in Bali and New Zealand for 5 months, and I came back here to see my mom through the pandemic and trying to navigate my way through the online world. So, and also learning business English and just business in general. I've been in the classroom since I was 6, so I have a lot to learn. Thanks.
Eric, how'd you hear about 1 Million Cups?
I attended here in Fort Collins a couple of summers ago, 2 or 3 meetings, and then I've been going there regularly since November on Zoom.
Awesome. Well, thanks for joining. Well, thanks for those great introductions. Where's my screen? Oh, you guys probably don't see this right now. Let me re-share my screen. So later today, we're going to do some community announcements. So if there's anything you want to share, get ready for those. We're also going to do some breakout rooms as well, so we can connect and get to know each other. Here at 1 Million Cups Denver, we have a variety of different presentation types we're open to. If you have an idea and you want to get some feedback on it, apply to present. If you have a product, you're out to market, you got customers, you want to get feedback on your business, apply to present. If you're at the stage of trying to raise money and you have to go to investors and you have a presentation for those type of people, apply to present. If you're a business expert, related to finance, operations, social media, marketing, and you want to share expertise with 1 Million Cups, apply to present. We're also open to organizations that are related to startups and also past presenters. We'd love to hear how you're doing now. So we're going to move on to our first presenter, Vendux. I had that in my head earlier. Vendux fills the void when sales leadership is missing. Within days, we place a seasoned sales executive on a interim or fractional basis into your organization. True leadership delivers results. Let's give a big round of applause to Henning and Vendux.
Thank you. Yeah. Begin sharing here. Good morning, everybody. I was the fool who stopped the poll earlier, but I quickly realized the mistake and moved on. My name is Henning Schweenum, and I am calling in from Kansas City, Missouri. I spent the last 30 years of my career with a number of different companies, and mostly leading, transforming, building sales teams around the world, different types of products, different team sizes, different products and services. And I did this because I somehow stumbled into the sales world about 10 years into my career and really liked the aspect of working with people, both on the customer side as well as on the team side. And when I left my last corporate role a year and a half ago, I didn't want to go into another corporate role running something, but I wanted to put my skill set to work as an interim or fractional contractor, fixing things, helping business along. I had two observations at the time. I wasn't well connected. I wasn't connected to CEOs or founders or owners. And then I looked around for a placement agency, a matchmaker that was focused on that sales leadership role, and I couldn't find one. And that led me to start Vendux. I said, I'm just going to build a company that is the matchmaker. And as Nick already pointed out, we place executives as contractors into organizations where that sales leadership aspect is missing. The market opportunity in 2018 or in 2019, not last year, those numbers haven't been determined, but in 2019 was that 35,000 of those sales leadership positions in the US became vacant. And that number continues to grow because the median tenure of a sales leader is shrinking. In 2018, it was down to 2.5 years. Then there is the trend overall towards the gig economy, where in 2027, more than half of the US workforce will be involved in some form of freelance or gig work. And then thirdly, this opportunity continues to grow because the concept of the fractional CFO is well established or better established. The outsourced or contracted sales leader is still a relatively new concept. The challenge is the same for every business. How do you deliver growth? Growth comes through sales. And a lot of owners or CEOs or tech founders don't have a sales background. And so when they hire their first salesperson, they fire the person again. When they hire their first VP, their average tenure is 12 to 18 months. And on the other hand, there are seasoned sales leaders available, between 3,000 and 5,000 in the US. And the process of bringing those two together is expensive, it's ineffective and wasteful. And so to me, that was an ideal space for a matchmaker. And Vendux is that matchmaker, and we apply domain expertise because myself and my co-founder, we are sales leadership practitioners, not recruiters. We match on role relevant criteria, and we are technology enabled. We're using a proprietary algorithm to do the matching. Initially, when I launched Vendux, I thought that every CEO in the US would be a potential customer. And while the interim solution can apply in a lot of business, the ideal primary client is a scaling business where the founder built the product, did the first couple of sales, proved the salability, and now they're ready to grow. And an example on this list is Pure Forge. They're out of San Diego, automotive aftermarket manufacturers, 3 tech founders, disruptive technology. And by the time they contacted me, they had already hired and fired 2 sales leaders, and we're still looking for the path to success. Where are we today? We're obviously a matchmaker working on both sides. By now, we have over 190 executives on the roster, which is the largest community of executives available for interim and fractional roles. And on the other side, we're directly connecting to founders. We are working with other fractional organizations like fractional CFO groups and have referral agreements in place. And then we connect to other multipliers like startup networks, but also like VCs or other private equity funds. Thank you. Thank you for your valuable time. And now I look forward to your questions.
Before we do that, let's give a big round of applause.
Thank you.
I'm going to stop the share screen. Or you already did. Okay, awesome. Just a couple of things before we do Q&A. Please limit your questions to 1 and 2 at a time. If you have more questions, I'll just come back to you. Use the raise hand button. It's under reactions. If you can't figure that out, then just raise your hand in the screen and I'll call on you. So who has questions or feedback for Henning? Start off. Don't be shy. If not, I will start off with, Hannah, go for it.
Hey, Henning, thanks for that. Is there something specific that you are looking for from this group, or did I miss that?
Well, that's sort of the question that could come at the end. I am a business that is a startup. We're a startup ourselves, and we're helping other startups because they are our primary target audience. And so for me, being able to present and share the concept in a group like 1 Million Cups is perfect because I get the feedback as a founder, but I also get potential client feedback because you could tell me whether this would or would not apply and why in your business.
Awesome, thank you. One curiosity that came up for me is how you place executives in companies. What does that matchmaking process look like?
So when I onboard executives on the roster, I go through a structured interview process in addition to indexing in an automated way a lot of content like their LinkedIn profile, their resumes, their blog posts, etc. But the interview is meant to really dig deep into their sales leadership experience. I, right or wrong, pride myself in being able to cut through the BS as a practitioner myself and really uncover what makes this person unique. What are their or were their unique contributions and scenarios in each of their roles? Because if you look at resumes of people who have been in this role for 20 or 30 years and put them side by side, they all look the same. Everybody has done the same things. So for me, it's important to really understand somebody's role, and that becomes part of their profile on the roster. And when I sit down with a client, I do a similar exercise, really understanding the nature of their sales scenario. You know, what's the average deal size? What's the length of the sales cycle? What are the decision makers they're going towards? where is the business in its development, in its life cycle? What goals does the business owner want to accomplish in the next 6 or 12 months while the executive is in that role? And that I take that information, and because it results in 8, 10, 12 criteria, and I reflect it against the database, and the algorithm will then produce the one what I call perfect match for that particular role.
Thank you, Hannah. And that's a good question you asked. We do ask the question, what as a community can we do for you at the end, but it's also helpful that at the beginning of the Q&A, like what questions do you have for us to help answer, like from your presentation, or what type of discussion you want to have during this Q&A portion.
I have a question.
Yeah, go ahead, Ben.
Hi, Henning. I completely see the value in this. I'm just wondering, you say startup, but I'm a startup. I could never afford what you're doing. So I'm imagining that they have to be in maybe an A round in order to afford you, because CEOs probably aren't cheap. So where are you in this?
Yeah. You're absolutely right. I've had a lot of conversations with founders who have the problem and the challenge, but they have no funds to pay for it. Now, I look at it in a couple of different ways. If you're a founder and you spend $1 million building your product and you didn't plan for any expenditure on sales and marketing, then you made a mistake right from the beginning. So, there has to be investment in sales and marketing, but of course, at that point, it may be too late. That's
kind of my point. A founder spending $1 million, that's my disconnect. So I just think something in your pitch is be incredibly clear with who is your target market. It's not me. I spent $500 to create Beanie Sleeper. Yeah. But I'm just saying I would do that that would be my suggestion for your pitch deck.
Yeah, I appreciate that. And you're right. There has to be investment available to set up a sales structure and to begin selling. If you are, and so my ideal client isn't a pre-revenue startup. It is a startup where the founder has proven the salability of the product, has generated some revenue, and typically that at that point, in a lot of cases, not in all cases, but a lot of cases, that's when an outside investor would come in, and it would be that Series A type investment. And at that point, there are funds available to be invested in sales and marketing. The one of the beauties of contracting your sales leader is the question, do you need them full time? Do you need a sales leader 100% of the time? And just like smaller businesses don't need a CFO full time, and that's why they contract them as fractional, the same holds true for a sales leader. I was in those roles myself, where I had a sales team of 1 or 2 or 3 salespeople, and I spend 80% of my time being an individual contributor and simply being an overpaid salesperson, as opposed to focusing on the leadership aspects, which took up 20% of my time. So if there are funds available, and as a founder, you want to be smart about spending it, then only buy what you need. And that would be contracting a fractional sales leader, and then spending the remaining funds on actual salespeople that are way less expensive than your sales leader.
Thank you, Ben. Anybody else have a question or feedback for Henning? My question is, what barriers are you currently facing?
So I've been through 3 semesters. The first 6 months were just building the business, building the initial roster, building a little bit of a brand, creating some content, And then COVID came, right when I was able to make first placements. And then the 6 months, the first 6 months of last year were crickets. Nothing was happening. The last 6 months have been much better, including the first 2 months of this year. And so the first roadblock for me, or hurdle, was COVID, because COVID froze up business owners who were simply not making decisions, and certainly not decisions to add resources to their business. They were trying to get rid of people. Now that we're post-COVID and things are better, hurdles that I face are founders who have who don't appreciate the value of sales, who think of sales as something that there is a person with sales in the title and they work on commission only. But of course, if you have a new product unproven in the market, you have a longer sales cycle, 6 months, 9 months. That model is really bad, and you won't find anybody anybody of any quality to work for 6 months for free, with the vague chance that there might be revenue and commission at that point. And so I have a lot of conversations with founders about what type of model is the right sales model for their business, because every business obviously is different. And that the educational piece is a hurdle. Lack of funds, so founders simply looking for help too early in the game is another hurdle. And then if the question would be what is your competition, or who is your competition, then there are a few other similar players in this space. There are a lot of solopreneurs who hire themselves out as individuals into those roles. The biggest hurdle, or the biggest competition, though, is the lack of knowledge about this model. Ignorance is what I call it. Not knowing that this even exists, and not and then not seeing, or me being unable to relate the value of this type of model. That is definitely the biggest hurdle. And that's why if you look at my LinkedIn profile, I started calling myself the chief evangelist at some point last year, because I found myself evangelizing way more than selling.
Yeah, education.
Yeah,
definitely. Since we have other entrepreneurs in the room, from your experience as an entrepreneur, any lessons to share with other members that they can possibly use in their businesses? Or do's or don'ts that you've came across, or failures that you've learned from?
Are you asking me?
Yes.
Sorry, it felt to me like you were asking me.
No, I was asking you if you had some knowledge that you want to share with the audience on kind of your experience with Vendux.
Oh,
Vendux. Keep on saying Zen.
Vendux, yeah.
I'll get there.
Yeah, so as a founder, it took me a long time to figure out the best way to connect to other founders, and in a meaningful, larger scope, and to educate. I tried different social media channels. I tried different one-on-one situations. And then, of course, with COVID, anything in person went away, and it became a little harder. And I finally found sort of my angle in LinkedIn, how to identify and properly connect with founders, because it's one thing to identify them, it's another thing to not be selling something, but rather connecting founder to founder and then educating about the solution. And that took me a good year to figure out how to get to that point. And I spent time and money on other social channels that just did not produce, other ways of doing it that didn't produce. So that was for me the most important lesson so far.
Awesome. Well, this is time for the final question or feedback. Anybody want to chime in? If not, I will take it. Going once, twice. Okay. Question you've been waiting for. What as a community can we do for you?
Yeah. Well, since most everyone here is a founder and most everyone is connected to other founders, I think the commonality that I see across all my conversations is the fact that no one really comes to me and says, Henning, I need a fractional sales leader 2 days a week for 6 months. The conversation always starts with, I have a problem in sales. I don't know how to approach this. I have hired and fired salespeople already. I've hired a VP of sales and he or she doesn't produce. So if you are aware of those types of scenarios, I'd love to have a conversation, a very open-ended conversation on, and I'll provide you my thoughts on what to do. I have a great network of other fractionals and other functional areas. I have a great connection to other sales-related organizations, and because it's a passion of mine, I just love to give people advice or share my thoughts, and then it's up for everybody to decide. So if you or someone in your network has that type of challenge, I'd love to have a conversation.
Awesome. Well, let's give Henning a round of applause. Great job.
Thank you.
Now we're going to move on to some breakout rooms. We're going to do it for maybe about 10 minutes. If you need an icebreaker question, you can start off with, what's your favorite flower or plant? I'm going to put about 3 to 4 people in each room, and then we'll come back for our second presentation. So I'm going to randomly assign people. Okay, here we go. Enjoy. Let me see. Shaylee, did you want to do a breakout room?
Hi, sorry, I am going to jump in a second.
Okay.
Thank you for your patience today. I am here. If you wanted to see my slides, I'm happy to show them now just so it's easy, but thank you for your patience. Going to back, and I'm like, oh gosh. So.
You're good. I just want to make sure we just have a good flow. But if you know how to set up, then we're good.
Yes, I just realized the hack of all hacks for sharing slides without a funky background. So I am so thrilled about this hack, and I don't know why it took me this long to figure it out.
Cool. Glad you got it to work. Where'd you go?
So I can just share this portion of my screen. I don't know, it froze for a second. That's kind of scary. Let's see, sending this out. Yes, you can just see my, you can just see my slides, right?
Yeah.
Hello?
Yeah, I can see.
Isn't that great? I love this. There's no border. It's just my slides. It's fantastic. Based, so 10 minutes on teaching people something, correct?
Yeah. Exactly.
Cool. So it's going to be a little hybridy, like 1 million cups, but also like more insights. So I think that should give some people some nuggets to think on. Yeah, any insights on your community and what their strength level is on social media, or like where they might be at?
No idea.
It's all good. It's all good. I ask anyway.
I don't get that in-depth info.
No, I don't know. Maybe, I don't know. Like, I know there's some people that I've been going to 1 million cups with for a long time, and it's like, oh, I know this person likes accounting stuff and this person likes to help women in business, and I'm like, okay, I get a little gist of them, but I don't know. Every group is different, so I don't know. But I got some nuggets that'll help people get more online. Cool. Well, I don't want to keep you here. If I can jump into a room too.
Yeah, go ahead and jump in a room. I'm gonna try and take
I'll
care
see you
of
soon.
All right. Who's active now? Discussions are just like
Hi, Nick. Were you feeling lonely?
It's fine. Yeah, a little bit.
Poor Nick. He just has to sit there and all by himself while everyone's in the breakout rooms.
Having fun, talking about things more important than me. Welcome back, everyone. We're gonna jump into our next presentation from your social media Sherpa. This is gonna be a business expert presentation. Your social media Sherpa is be unforgettable to your referral network. Bring your reputation online in 100 days via one-on-one social media guidance, clarity, and accountability. Let's give a round of applause for Shaylee.
Hey, thank you so much for having me. I would love to know in the chat, like, nuggets, if you're able to share, like, are you on social media? Are you using it for your business? Do you love it? Do you hate it? And what are you wondering about? Any answer to any of those questions, I would love to shout you out because I would love to know. Put that in the chat as I'm diving in. Like we said, this is an education-based training where I'm going to share some insights from my world of how you can get more out of your network. I love it. Yes, let me be social media therapy for you all today. But if you need a real therapist, please go to a real therapist. I am not a therapist, but I would love to know how you feel, what you love, what you hate. And then I'm going to use those throughout the presentation to see what I can answer for you. Like Nick just said, I am all about your referral reputation, how to really leverage your network to help you shine. We were just talking in our breakout room that it's about, like, Eric was saying something about, like, your 1,500 people that you're sort of in touch with. It's the peripheries that you need to feed. And it's exactly a little bit what we're going to talk about here, is that when you can feed the people that love and adore you in your world or in your network from your business, if you can feed them first, they're the ones who are going to be repeat clients, and they're the ones who are going to refer you out to more people. I'm seeing some head nods already. Okay. So we're going to dive into that, and I want to show you a little bit more about how to reshift your mindset on social media. But before that, I want to let you know, like, who is this lady and why should she be telling you about all of this stuff? So I'm going to tell you a little bit about my, like, weird, I'm not sharing. Let me share my screen. My weird youth where, and I'm sure maybe some of you can relate. Maybe some of you too, like me, have been bullied and teased and didn't have a lot of friends growing up. So I'm going to show you what that looks like here. There's me, emo shyly in high school. Didn't have a lot of friends. I was super lonely. I see the smiles. Yes, we have some MySpacers in the house. Didn't have a lot of friends. And I needed to learn how to make friends and make connections. And I didn't think anything of that, but that's actually what I took into my life and into my business. I learned how to make friends on MySpace. I even managed a community of people who like the same nerdy thing that I did, which is Survivor and Big Brother. I don't know if we have any fans in the house, but we should talk if you are. And yeah, I was lonely, but that's where I learned to make friends, was on MySpace, is that I found people on the internet that I connected with. I didn't think too much of this skill, but I realized that everything I learned to survive in my social life is what I leverage now to teach entrepreneurs and business owners how to leverage their own network and their own social community to grow their businesses. It was something that was a survival thing to me, to now something that I teach other people to do. So with that, I want to tell you a little bit more about my world and how I'm going to cheer you on today. I find that so often, like, we hear, like, you got to stay in touch with your network, get on the phone, do the sales calls, stay in touch with people. But I find that that's hard. Not everyone has mailers going out. Not everyone has an email list going on. People are neglecting their own marketing. Maybe some of you are too. There's also a big overwhelm in all the options that you have to choose on social media. You can also include those in the chat if there's too many options, too many shiny objects. And then I also find that people feel like their efforts are fruitless. They're doing it over and over again, not seeing the results, not sure how to think about it. I'm going to give you a better head way to think about it. But the thing is, what you already have and what I've told you earlier is that you all have connections. People who know, love, and adore you. If you give them a call, if Allie gives them a call, she's going to be like, yeah, oh, of course, I want to talk to Allie. Allie's great. Or Anne gives her a call. Oh, I want to talk to Anne. Anne is wonderful. She has a great reputation. We all have those connections. So I want to guide you in how you can speak to those people, remind them how genius you are, whatever your field is, so that you can stay in their heads, so that they remember to call you when the next person says they need a financial planner or they need a real estate agent or whatever. I don't want you to have to be alone like I was when I was a kid sitting alone at the table. I want you to have someone by your side so it's a lot less scary and to help you navigate the mountain that is social media. So I want to help guide you on that. So the education piece of this, and I'm going to look at some of these questions too, is a mindset around your marketing. So you have people that love and adore you. You need to feed them. So the simplest way I can say is like, I have a client who's an Indian matchmaker and she's got tons of ideal potential clients on her LinkedIn, but she wasn't posting anything to tell them any insights or tips on, you know, why do you need a matchmaker? Why is she different than all the other Indian matchmakers out there? Why is she the traditional route for them? She wasn't answering any of these questions and she wasn't staying in touch with these people. Is that one of her leads maybe needs her today or needs her in 6 months, but she connected with them today. How is she going to stay in touch? When I go to a networking event, I add someone new on LinkedIn. I send them a little message. This is a quick tip. Tell me where you met me, or I'll write it in the notes so that whenever I see you in 6 months, you know, oh yeah, Shiley from 1 Million Cups or whatever. And then now every time they see because they're my friend on LinkedIn, they will see my content. And chances are there's not a lot of people posting content on LinkedIn. So if you post interesting stuff, you get seen and seen by your network. So it's about matching where your people are to where you're posting. And that's going to look different for everybody. If you already love Instagram, maybe it's Instagram for you. It's that in combination with where your people are, where you like to post, and can you stick with it? If you have all of these things in place and you can bring the people that you already know, love, and adore you to that information, you are in great shape. Your email list is also your golden goose here, is that those are the people who are most interested in your stuff, and no social media platform can take that away from you. Is that Instagram can kick you off tomorrow, TikTok can kick you off tomorrow. Your Clubhouse following may never go on the app ever again. So getting someone's email is going to be absolutely humongous. Okay, we have like 4-ish minutes left. I want to see what you wrote in the chat here. I hate it for myself. I feel like I need to use it for my business. Absolutely. So for Allie too, like, do you have a list of all your past clients? Do you know where they are? Can you email them? Right. And so how do you get the right people to follow you? This is for everybody. So if I'm Allie, and I don't know if I like Instagram or whatever, but I would say this: hey, client, insert personal detail about them like you normally would as a human. Be relational. Say, hey, I'm working on my Instagram. Would you mind giving me a follow? I super appreciate it. I hope you're well. This does 2 things for any of you, is that it lets you open up a conversation with someone who probably never would have talked to you otherwise. And if they ever had a question, they now can ask you that question. Also, you didn't just spam request them to follow your page. They now know that you care about it, and thus they're going to care more about you. And who doesn't love a little bit more appreciation? So that can be applied to any platform. And people will love that. On social media, using for my business, I'm very blah about it and realize lately how much I don't understand. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff. It's overwhelming, but I want you to come down to this simple thing. I use the number 10, but like there's 10 like stupid things that you can say that are so simple on social media that people don't do. 1, how did you get into your business? I have a guy who I knew as a rabbi, and he now does sleep consulting. Why don't I know that story? He publishes it and people start having conversations with him about his business. Tell me every FAQ that customers who call you on the phone ask you. Put those in your website, make those into podcasts, make those into blogs. You don't have to do all of these things, but pick a spot and give them that context. That is the simplest thing. Tips, things they don't know, why you're different than everybody else. Answer those questions and you'll have plenty of content to keep you forever. Oh my gosh, TikTok is wild. Have fun, experiment with it. I'm experimenting with it. There's a lot of potential there. Someone I worked with last year has like 8,000 followers in the automotive education space on TikTok. And I'm like, get it, Oscar, like he's winning. You have tons of content, but overwhelmed, deciding what to post. Post things that your people that you want to serve didn't know they need from you. You're their teacher. Think of it as education. Like I just watched a guy on TikTok yesterday who like, I guess runs like a morgue or something or a funeral home. And I was like, it's like, what do you do when you bury a child? I know it's super morbid, but I was like, I'm really curious, you know, and now here's this guy that does funeral homes that I now trust, or like the guy that does sump pumps. I like love this guy on TikTok. I didn't know anything about it, but now I feel like I'm an expert. So who am I going to call? So that's something to think about. What are the questions you get all the time? Skeptical of the results. Look, if you're feeding the people that you know are going to be your next biggest client and you can remind them that you're there, you already know your network is fruitful for you. This is just amplifying it at scale. John wrote, my business, now it's all social media. Yeah, so networking events to leading to LinkedIn, it's all related, right? Think of your people who follow you on LinkedIn as your kind of your mountain, Sherpa mountain. You're screaming out to all of them. What information do they need to hear from you that's worth their while to pay attention to? Another hack, any post that you put on social media, the first few lines, the first part of a graphic, the first few words of your podcast, whatever it is, make it super interesting. If they don't like the first few lines, they're never going to read the rest of it. This goes for your LinkedIn bio too. Make it super easy for people to know what's in it for me. That's what we're all looking for. And LinkedIn especially, right? So don't be like, I interviewed Shiley today. They don't know who I am. Tell me that there's a crazy social media tip you've never heard of before. So that's interesting. Consistency. So Eric wrote about consistency. A lot of social media coaches will say, post, for TikTok, post 3 times a day. Like, it probably works a lot better when you do that. But if you can't maintain 3 times a day and you're not consistent, that's not good for you. So I secretly only post once a month on LinkedIn, and you could look at my old posts. But I want you to think about it like this, is that if your favorite TV show, what are we binging right now? I don't know. We got Queen's Gambit or who knows what. If your favorite show ended, and I know we're about 10 minutes here, ended mid-season, especially during quarantine, wouldn't that break your heart? So don't break the hearts of the people that you're serving with your content. That's going to be absolutely huge. The last thing I'm going to say is, Allie wrote, direct messages, are they key? Absolutely. Instead of you having to check in with all of your ideal leads on the phone, which they may never pick up, you can now do it in 10 seconds, sending them a little clip or a video of you saying hello or a little thank you. Those are all little nuggets for you to get moving. I have a few more tips. I can tell you a little bit more about how I structure my world, but that is a little bit about my world. Thank you for having me. Remember, my favorite social media quote that someone else wrote, social media is about the people, not about your business. Provide for the people, and the people will provide for you. Thanks for having me.
I want to start off with a round of applause once it comes up.
Oh, yay. Oh, I love it.
Shiley, I love your energy. Really awesome energy. So keep that up. We have couple more minutes to open up to the room if people want to have direct questions, have a little more of a conversation.
Yes.
Anyone? Go ahead. You have something to
I'm
say?
going to just say this. Yoursocialmediasherpa.com. I have my favorite LinkedIn profiles, so you can use that as inspiration for how you talk about yourself. They're on my website. Feel free to follow me on LinkedIn too.
Cool. All right. Anybody have any questions or feedback at all?
I have a question, Shaylee.
Go ahead, Allie.
Okay. So I love that quote about how it's about the people, not about your business. Do you have any more insights on, like, can you expand on that, on, like, answer the questions that they have, answer your most asked FAQ that you get on the phone.
Client stories,
Yeah, make them feel like they're a new expert on it because of you.
Yes, that's trust. Yes.
Yes. And anything else like that?
Yes. So here's the thing. The only way you're going to guarantee success on social media, I'm going to tell you how to guarantee success. It is not easy. But if your people love and trust you, like, my content could be kind of meh, but if they know that they love and trust Shiley, they're going to like it because they like me. I have friends who write such beautiful content on LinkedIn, but they don't have a network that gives a dang about them because they didn't put the energy into relationships, and they're not getting any traction. Like, your content could be great, but having people that feel a connection to you is huge. So one thing that I always tell people is, like, whenever someone likes or comments on your content, give them a personalized thank you. The same way that I said, how do you invite people to it? Thank people for engaging with your stuff. It's like almost like an in-between sales call without having to get on the phone. And people love that, that you are there to give to them, and they're going to give back to you.
I'm not very savvy at this stuff. So when I thank them, am I doing that in the, like, say they made a comment on our Instagram?
Yeah.
Is that in the comments of the Instagram, or is that like a direct message to them? Okay.
Both. So here's the thing, right? So like, I'll give you this example from TikTok. This one lady is like an Instagram influencer, whatever, but she like went in and commented on like a few of my videos, and I felt a connection to her. Have I ever gotten on the phone with her? Have I ever talked to her? No, but every time I see her content, I feel like, oh, she cares about me. Right. So if you go in and like a few of their posts and write a few nice comments, especially like, you don't want to do this like weirdos, but like people who you think are going to be good for your network, like comment on their stuff, tell them a little thank you. I've had business conversations start that way. It's like, Shelly, I have questions for you. I'm like, what could they have questions about? I haven't talked to you on the phone in 3 years. It's probably about social media. So
Cool.
so
Okay.
that's how you should
that
think
sounds
about
like
it. Yeah.
that almost sounds like something that like an intern could
You
be
could.
doing.
You
Like,
could.
your job is just to like find the people that we want to connect with, really engage with them, and here's the list of things to do with that.
Potentially, yes, absolutely. For sure, for sure. Your intern could do this. Like, I love training interns or like your social media person or what. I love that because they can do some of this for you. I see Hannah has a question.
All right, Hannah, you get the last one.
Awesome. Okay. So Shiley, thank you so much. You have done a couple things for me today. That is make it seem so much less intimidating on social media. And your tips were so helpful. Thank you for coming on here and just like getting them out into the world. You're clearly very good at your trade.
Thank you.
I'm glad you're here.
Oh,
it's
thank
not a
you.
question, but
I appreciate that. I want to quote you, but I gotta ask you. That's a great. I thank you.
Go for it.
No, okay, great. I love it. The recording is on social media, right? Thanks.
Awesome. And final question for you is, what as a community can we do for you?
Ooh, can I share a slide again?
Sure.
Okay, I know I'm gonna be really brief here. So this is what I'm looking for introductions. I love serving and training customers. Personally, I'm looking to grow, get better at sales, of course, and making my customer experience extra special. Always looking for feedback there. I've been doing more trainings and workshops for college students and sororities, and I'm looking for more introductions there on high schools as well. I love speaking at chambers and Rotary clubs. Those are great introductions for me. If you want to learn more about getting a video review for me on how your social media is going, I'm one click away at yoursocialmediasherpa.com. Thanks.
Awesome. Well, let's give you one last round of, wait for it, applause.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So first thing, some community announcements. I just let you know, Founders Live. It's happening next week. It's another pitch competition. Gregorius, he hosts it. If you go to founderscraft.com/founderslive, I'll share this link right now. You can sign up. It's there. Anyone else have any other community announcements that they want to share with the room?
Yes. Next week for International Women's Day, which has become International Women's Week, I am hosting an event on Clubhouse called What to Expect When Expecting. We're going to hear stories from women who had babies and families while going through major milestones in their companies. So I would love to have you join in and listen. And if you have any questions about that, let me know.
Cool. Thank you, Hannah. Brendan.
I'm doing another educational seminar through the FIED 101 group that I put together. So this one is geared towards business owners. So it's different financial planning for entrepreneurs, business owners, people with side hustle, or just people thinking about starting something. So that'll actually be today in person at Tap and Burger in Bellevue Station down by DTC if you're in the Denver area, or we'll be broadcasting it virtually if you're not. So I'll put the info in the chat.
All right, awesome. Allie, you have an announcement.
Cool, yeah. Hi guys. I don't know if you know my business, but it's called Good Elephant. We do yoga and meditation and all kinds of healthy lifestyle classes in partnership with local businesses. And so we are gearing up to relaunch in-person stuff in Denver. And so we're super excited about it. We're looking for local businesses that want to host classes. It's really great for the business. They, get exposure. They get people physically coming into their space, which is really exciting. we're looking for spaces who want to host, but mostly probably places that have outdoor space because it's going to get warm and super nice. So if you have any ideas, or if you know of anyone, or if your business wants to host, then just let me know. I'll put my email in the chat. So thanks.
Cool. All right. Thank you, Allie. Quick reminder, Whelming Cups has a website. This is where you can go to apply to present. We're always looking for new presenters. It's also the link you can share with your friends and coworkers so they can join us every Wednesday at 9 a.m. So I recommend that. Just want to make sure everybody's aware that you are awesome. Keep on being awesome. Do awesome things this week. These meetings are posted on YouTube. If you need to go back to them, I am about a month behind on posting, but eventually they will be up there. Oh, shoot. So the pun for today, I'll just share it. The golfer brought an extra pair of pants in case he got a hole in one.
Haha, I love it.
Yes, I got one.
Yeah.
I'm gonna tell that to my dad. That is a perfect dad joke.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Just to, give you guys context.
This ruined my whole day. I'm going back to bed.
I think it's a win for me. Either if I get really good reaction or really bad. I can't stand when I get no reaction. So I appreciate both sides. It's if your bad reactions are just as good as the good ones. It's just the people that don't give any reaction I can't stand. Well, I want to thank everyone for coming out this week. We are going to do some more breakout rooms. So if you want to stick around, I'm going to randomly assign new rooms so you guys can connect for about 15 minutes. If you got to go, no worries. I appreciate you guys for coming out. I'm going to give one more round of applause for everybody that stuck around today. You guys are awesome. Cool. I'm assuming everybody that's still here wants to do a breakout room, so I'm going to get those going. And if you need to go, no worries. Cool. Breakout rooms. We got. Oh, we're dropping here. Okay. We got this group right. I think we'll just leave it here. We don't need to do a breakout room. We'll just leave this here. So the question I have for you guys, if you want to start off, is what's the best book you've ever read, or a recent book you read that you want to share?
I think Grit was a good book that I recently read.
What was it called?
Grit.
Oh, Grit. I've heard about that one.
That was a good one.
Yeah, that's a good one.
What was a takeaway that you got from it?
Well, I didn't really know. Well, there's a quiz, and not a quiz, but there's an assessment of your grit. But I think the importance of grit, I didn't think I realized how important that was and how that's a huge asset. So I think that was a takeaway. And then that you can develop grit too. So there's the importance of grit, especially for entrepreneurs. I think it's super important.
Yeah. There was a study or something I read about entrepreneurs and having grit. It's really correlated.
And there was another book called Chatter. I thought that was a good book too. And that's like a good book these are both kind of like they're both written by psychologists that are super smart, which makes it fun to read because it's not just ideas, it's based on science. So I thought that was a good book too, but that was Chatter was more from dealing with, with how we speak to ourselves in our head and how we kind of how we use negative self-talk and how to deal with that. So
I'll have to check that book out. Awesome.
Nick, I have 5 for you.
5. Okay. What do you got?
Yeah. So I get a lot of calls from people who are in transition, right? I sold my company. I'm now working for a big company. It's been 2 years. I want to go back out, or my company failed and I'm not doing anything, or I just graduated grad school, whatever. And so I give people 5 books for what is when you're in a threshold, when you're in a new state. Consider the difference between, you finished high school, but you haven't started college yet. So I give you these 5 books in order, and it really helps people try and define who they want to be next instead of just fall into the next gig.
Uh-huh.
The first book, incredibly famous. You can just watch the TED Talk, Start With Why. Simon Sinek.
Yep.
50 million views of his TED Talk. He's not an idiot. The second one is called The War of Art by Stephen Pressfield. This is, I think, one of the most important entrepreneurial books ever written. And it's about how hard it is to do any creative endeavor, written from an author, teaching other authors and entrepreneurs and stuff how to do it. Number 3 is audio only. It's Brene Brown, The Power of Vulnerability. Number 4, I always forget the name of the lady who wrote it, but it's called Mindset. And number 5 is The Storm Before the Calm. If you read those books in order, quickly, it'll be amazing what happens to your head and heart about who am I and what do I want to do next and what's going on with the world and what matters and what's important and why is it important and how do I. So.
And if you don't read them in order, are you just gonna be lost?
Actually, no. Basically, what happens to you is the same thing that happens to a gremlin if they eat after midnight. You just totally go right off the side. Maybe that reference is too old. There's something about the order that matters. I don't know what. I kind of have an idea.
Interesting. So it was start with why, War of Art, audio only, Mindset, and Storm Before the Calm.
No, the book, there is a book on the list that you can only get in audio, and it's by Brene Brown, and it's called The Power of Vulnerability.
Oh, okay. The Power of. Kind of tuned out, I guess, when you said that.
No, it's okay. I talk about it.
Okay.
Anyway,
great list. I'll share that out.
Thanks, man. Yeah, it's been an interesting journey, and I think so many people, especially people we're meeting here, are in transition states because jobs disappeared. People then said, "Who do I want to be?" And so I think I'm getting this question a lot, and I'm hoping that on the tail end of the difficulties, a lot more people are going to be in a lot happier positions.
Awesome. For me, a book I recently read I really liked was Never Split the Difference.
Yeah.
You guys read that one? I thought that
I read that one. That's a good one. That was the FBI interrogator, whatever.
Yeah.
Not interrogator, but FBI. Yeah. Negotiator.
One thing I took away that I'm using right now in my business is using exact pricing. Don't use a very general number. It looks more official when you have a number, like if you're selling something for $1,123 versus $99. It's just a more convincing argument when you have this kind of number that's just more exact. So I've been using that idea.
Well, guys, I am at the part of, I got to sign off because I'm going to lose coverage. Bye, guys.
All right, bye-bye. Bye. Was that Brandon?
There's one, a few that I know. There's one called The Happiness Advantage by Sean Aker. Is a really good one. There's one called The Greatest Salesman in the World. It kind of has a religious side to it. So if you're not religious, just skip the last 2 pages and you're good. And I'm trying to think, there's another one. Well, if you're a finance nerd, there's one called Becoming Your Own Bank, The Infinite Banking Theory, that I really, really like. It is a good one. And The Power of Habit. I'm trying to look up the name of the author, but that was a really, really good one that kind of talks about different ways of setting up good habits and changing your bad habits into good habits. But
yeah, have you read Atomic Habit?
Yeah, that's similar. Yeah. Yeah.
I feel like a lot of the habit books have very similar things.
Yeah. There it is, by Charles D-U-H-I-G-G. Duhigg.
Power of, yeah, I read that one too. Cool. John, you have any books to share?
Yeah, I just finished Star Maker, which is not a self-help book. It's a science fiction, and it's a kind of a historic science fiction book because it was written in 1937, and his perspectives are pretty interesting.
That's awesome. Yeah, I'll share this book I have. You can see my shorts. I mean, as you can tell, I'm into biking. So my new book I got is Bike Maintenance. It's a nice book.
Have you read It's Not About the Bike?
Say again?
Have you read It's Not About the Bike?
No.
Oh, okay.
What's that about?
Lance Armstrong's journey was popular a few years ago and it's lost favor.
Oh, nice. I'll have to check that out. Yeah, I figured I had these 3 bikes. I ride them. I know some things about them. Like I can change a tire, but all the components that are involved, I would like to know more. So there's a
I
nice.
have a great bike mechanic.
Yeah, that's what I kind of want.
Nick Bishop.
Say again?
Nick Bishop.
Nick Bishop. Okay.
Yeah.
He's in
I'll
Denver.
put his contact information in the chat.
Cool.
Yeah, I'll give you his number.
Cool. Yeah, there's so many components of a bike that I just love to learn more about it. So that's on my current list of things to read is this Bike Maintenance book. Awesome. Anybody a Kindle reader like myself, or are you guys?
I read both.
Okay. What's your decision process, Paul, between using a Kindle and a regular?
Financial usually. So it's like I can't. If it's more expensive on Kindle, or if it's around, then I buy paper, and so I try to link. We have too many books, so it's nice to go with the Kindle.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I still like paper. I still like to read. I think it's still easier to read in paper book, and it definitely seems like you've accomplished something when you finish reading a paper book more than a Kindle book. So there's that psychological thing
I love being able to lay in bed and read with my Kindle and not have to worry about pages. Just like that, holding it. It's so simple. It's easy. That's my selling point for a Kindle.
No, I like them too. I do the same thing, but I can't get that financial aspect out of it. And there's actually another book that I thought was good for entrepreneurs is like Financial Intelligence for Entrepreneurs. That was a very easy book to read that actually kind of just explained, more balance sheets and stuff like that, more complicated stuff that I think a lot of entrepreneurs don't get. But
what's it called? I'll write it down.
Financial Intelligence for Entrepreneurs.
Okay.
But I'm still learning stuff. It's like, I need to reread it every once in a while.
Definitely. Yeah, I feel there's a lot of books I've read. I'm like, I need to read this one over again because I'm gonna forget a lot of it. Like the How to Influence People. It's
How to Win Friends and I read that one in college, and the way I was introduced is
How to Win Friends and Influence People.
Yeah, there's something else.
You mentioned that negotiations.
Yeah, How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. Yeah. That one, I had to read that one in college. I've read it again since then. And when I had to read it in college, the professor goes, it's a book very used by very successful businessmen, politicians, and serial killers. Why did you put successful in the beginning of the sentence?
One I read years ago that's really worth reading is Dig Your Well Before You're Thirsty.
Oh.
That's by Harvey McKay.
It's funny that you mentioned that, like a psychopath and a corporation. They're very similar, right?
They're so similar.
There's one Think and Go Rich by Andrew Carnegie, or not by Napoleon Hill interviewing Andrew Carnegie. And it's kind of funny because I think that was like originally came out like 1907 or very way back. Like you go through the book and it's like racist and sexist and like all the ists with like really, really good financial advice mixed in. Like I read that book and I was like, I want to use this advice to help minorities and women and just destroy Andrew Carnegie or have Andrew Carnegie rolling in his grave somewhere. It's such a bizarre book when you read it in like today's context.
Cool.
And then here's another negotiation book. I don't know if I mentioned this, but Getting to Yes, negotiating agreements without giving in. That was the other one. I'm in the middle of that one. I haven't finished it. But.
Yeah, I didn't find getting to yes to be especially helpful. I went through the Nuremberg Art of Negotiation course, and I found that to be really, really thorough.
I love negotiations. Just this psychology of it. It's fascinating. And I just love learning more about it to be successful at it.
I think the biggest thing that I learned so far, and it also comes up in Getting to Yes and the other books, is just like trying to understand the other side. I think it's so easy to think when you go into negotiation that you know everything, which is like, I think one of the biggest problems with an entrepreneur is that you think you know everything.
Yeah.
Without surveying your customer or surveying your counterparty. You know, it's like you really need to understand who you're talking to. And I think that whole thing about is making the pie bigger, which also comes up in entrepreneurship, is rather than just like limited as a win-lose type of game, it's more of try to make it a win-win situation to where the pie is bigger and everybody gets what they want.
Definitely, yeah. I took a negotiation course with my MBA, and there's the BATNA concept.
Yeah.
Like and understanding the other partner's BATNA is so key. You can, if you know that, then you know what to offer. And there's that zone. The
ZOPA, yeah. Zone of potential agreement. Yeah.
So if you fall in that area, then it's a win-win for both parties. Like there's not like an exact deal that's perfect, but if you're in that ZOPA, then it's a win-win.
Yeah, but I think people want to maximize that, right? They want to know what the black swan is so they can push it towards one end. I think that's, yeah.
I agree.
I gotta hop off, guys. I got a 10:30 I need to get ready for, but
Cool.
nice seeing you, everyone.
I'll see you guys. Thanks for coming out. Bye.